Hello everyone, Minglawa. Welcome back to our weekly news program. This week we have a plan to present Myanmar domestic situation, starting with the situation of interest between international countries and the difficulties that are being faced in the country of Myanmar. This is Myanmar. Now we're going to start sharing the Myanmar's affairs that had happened over the past week. As a news summary, we have Mr. Tom Andrews, the United Nations Special Representative for Myanmar, has started to leave for Japan. No political prisoners were among those released from prisons on the first day of the Myanmar's New Year. Daw Sin-Maung, Minister of Foreign Affairs of the National Unity Government of Myanmar, strongly criticized the United Nations Security Council. Thai politicians are urging not to return Min Aung Hlai's family exes that are currently in custody. The Supreme Court of the Union has accepted the appeal and amendment of the sentence imposed on State Councillor Daw Aung San Suu Kyi. Myanmar citizens arriving in Thailand will face difficulties due to the new passport renewal policy. Villages of Singku and Wallach are being raided and at least 50 Bodagong villagers have been arrested. More than 8,000 local residents are fleeing because of the military attack in King town. The military is bombing Basiji village the second time, where hundreds of people were killed due to the first airstrikes. For the very first news, we have Mr. Tom Andrews, the United Nations Special Representative from Myanmar, has started to leave for Japan. Mr. Tom Andrews, the United Nations Special Representative for Human Rights in Myanmar, will arrive in Japan today, April 19, and during his 10-day trip, he will urge to put pressure on the Myanmar military. As the situation in Myanmar continues to deteriorate, Japan's leadership is essential in resolving the deepening human rights crisis. Military attacks on civilians intensify, the number of political prisoners continue to increase, and the humanitarian needs are growing, he said. He added that as a strong democratic country, Japan is in a leading position in the region regarding the Myanmar crisis. He also said that he will use his influence to isolate the brutal Myanmar military junta, and he will try weakening the military. He will also meet with the Japanese government, UN agencies, human rights organizations, Japanese companies, and some Myanmar citizens when he arrives in Japan. It is also said that on April 28, Tom Andrews will also hold a press conference at the Tokyo Foreign Correspondent Association. His trip to Japan comes a week after an airstrike in Basiji village in Sakai province, which killed more than 170 people. Up next, we have no political prisoners were among those released from prisons on the first day of the Myanmar's New Year. According to the family members of the political prisoners and people close to the prison, 13 people have been released from prisons in the western part of Bago province with the amnesty granted by the military council. The coup military council has announced that on April 17 that on the first day of the Myanmar New Year, more than 3,000 prisoners from various prisons across the country will be freed on the promise of a reduced sentence. The coup military council has released prisoners 9 times in more than 2 years, including today's release, and only 5,000 were political prisoners in the release of more than 60,000 prisoners. According to the list of AAPP, more than 21,000 people have been arrested since the military dictatorship, and more than 3,800 of them have been released. More than 70,000 of those arrested after the coup are still kept in prisons. On the next news, we have Daw Sin-Maung, Minister of Foreign Affairs of the National Unity Government of Myanmar, strongly criticized the United Nations Security Council. Just as the people of Myanmar are frustrated with the United Nations for not being able to effectively stop the terrorist attacks of the Myanmar military junta, NUG Foreign Minister Daw Sin-Maung also criticized the UN Security Council. In a press conference, Daw Sin-Maung criticized the UN Security Council for not even being able to condemn the air attack on Kambalu and Basiji village. Daw Sin-Maung strongly criticized the fact that the big countries with veto power are failing to take actions, even though the oppressions and brutality of terrorism that the people of Myanmar are suffering cannot be hidden. International news reported that Russia and China, the veto-wielding countries in the Security Council, often objected to these discussions, and the two countries also objected to the recent airstrike on Basiji village as well. Moving forward to the next one, we have Thai politicians are urging not to return Myanmar online family access that are in custody. A well-known Thai opposition politician has called for the matter not to be compromised after reports emerged that the Myanmar military coup leader is seeking to negotiate the return of access held by Thai authorities in connection with Myanmar coup leader arrested in Thailand. U Tominlet, a Myanmar crony businessman and weapons broker, was arrested in Bangkok. And the Thai media reported that among the items seized from his apartment were the documents and bank accounts books of the condominium bought and owned by Ming Onglai's children in Bangkok. The Thai police found a condominium contract in U Tominlet's apartment that were purchased in the name of Ming Onglai's son, Ong Beso. Ming Onglai's daughter's bank account books opened in the name of Kendiri Thamon were confiscated as well. Now, after Thai news reported that Ming Onglai is trying to negotiate with the Thai government and take back those assets and move forward party politicians, ex-member of parliament was clearly against it. Since the police charged U Tominlet with drug smuggling, money laundering, and helped build a strong case, Rom, ex-member of parliament of Move Forward Party politician, pointing out that related evidence should also be preserved in accordance with the law. If Ming Onglai were to agree to the request and hand over the evidence of assets kept as evidence, Rom said it would be the same as accepting the interference of a foreign country in Thailand's judicial sector. A member of the Thai Senate who is accused of having connections with U Tominlet's Liu Group company was scheduled to be heard in court after the Songkran Water Festival, but Ram criticized the postponement of the case and also objected to the issue of Ming Onglai trying to reclaim assets. At a press conference held on April 17, Ram also pointed out that the brutality of the Myanmar military army led by Ming Onglai and said that complying with Ming Onglai's demands would be disrespectful to the Myanmar citizens who are suffering from violent oppressions. U Tominlet, and weapons broker and a crony businessman who is currently under arrest in Thailand, had business connections with Thai Senator Upakit Bachari Yamkun and has been operating a hotel business on the Myanmar-Thailand border for about a decade. It is reported that they have been involved in joint ventures in electricity distribution. After U Tominlet's arrest, Upakit denied that they were U Tominlet in connections with the electricity distribution business and that they had no familiarity and had absolutely no connection with U Tominlet's illegal activities. In other news, we have Daw Aung San Suu Kyi appeal was accepted by the Supreme Court of the Union. State Councillor Daw Aung San Suu Kyi has been accused and jailed by the Military Council, and the Supreme Court of the Union accepted the case on April 19 and accepted the case for both sides to plead. From the Supreme Court of the Union often rejecting State Councillor Daw Aung San Suu Kyi's appeals, and now the Supreme Court has accepted the appeal filed against the conviction for corruptions in the purchase, the allegations of election fraud under Section 130A of the Penal Code, and the amendment filed against the conviction under Section 31C of the Myanmar Government Secrets Act. The United Nations Human Rights Council held a meeting in Geneva, Switzerland in early April, urging the military junta to immediately release President U Win Myint, State Councillor Daw Aung San Suu Kyi, and those who were unjustly arrested. And within the 15 days after the meeting, the Military Council has accepted the appeal of Daw Aung San Suu Kyi case. After the military seized power, 78-year-old Daw Aung San Suu Kyi was charged with 19 cases and sentenced to a total of 33 years in prison. Daw Aung San Suu Kyi's side filed appeals against all of those punishments after the Military Council Court imposed punishment on the cases. It is known that the Military Council Court is preparing to file a special appeal for 6 cases, including the Natural Disaster Management Law and defamation of the state, which were initially ordered against Daw Aung San Suu Kyi. On the other hand, legal experts point out that it is unfair for Daw Aung San Suu Kyi to not be allowed to meet with her lawyers despite accepting that the cases will be heard. 78-year-old Daw Aung San Suu Kyi has been sentenced to 33 years in prison for 19 cases and is being held in solitary confinement in a small building in Naypyidaw prison. Coming up next, Myanmar citizens arriving in Thailand will face difficulty due to the new passport renewal policy. Myanmar citizens living in Thailand with visiting and education passport are worried that they will face difficulty because the Military Council has added new requirements to the validity of their passports. The Burmese consulate in Chiang Mai and the military council said that in order to renew the tourist and education passport, they will need a certificate from the police station in the area where they lived in Myanmar, a certificate from the local office, a description of their employment and residence while abroad, a certificate from their parents, and proof that they are attending school. Also, one of the more controversial things is the fact that it must be endorsed by a gazetted official in Myanmar. After the military dictatorship, many Myanmar nationals migrated to Thailand, including many who held tourist and educational passports. Among the people who live like this are those who participated in the anti-coup movement. Those who live in such a manner need to obtain official endorsement under the military council police station. It has become a big challenge to having to renew with the support of the district office. In other words, it can be said that it is also a way that the military council is tightening up against the coup opponent in Thailand. When the military council becomes stricter, the Thai government also announced that it would suspend the application for the residence card in Thailand, known as the pink card, due to the general elections and the change of government. In the midst of this situation, there is also a possibility that Myanmar citizens who came to Thailand will also face more difficulty and crisis. In the next news, we have the villages of Sinku and Welekja are being raided, and at least 50 Bodagong villagers have been arrested. According to the local news sources, the military council has patrolled the villages along the banks of the Irrawaddy River in Sakai region, Welek Township, and Sinku Township in Mandalay region. It is said that the military council started patrolling the villages on the banks of the Irrawaddy River in the eastern part of Welek Township and the western part of Sinku district on April 18 after Myanmar New Year, and it is also said that the villagers who were trapped in the elementary school were arrested this morning when the military came raiding the village of Bodagong. In addition, it is also reported that the military council troops are firing heavy weapons from the Sinku district to Welek Township, targeting the villages on the west bank of the Irrawaddy River, such as Thongbogong and Shakwel village. Local residents said that the condition of the people who were arrested in Bodar village is still unknown, and because the military council troops are deployed in the area. Currently, the military council army is based in the village of Bodagong and is said to be scouting with drones in the direction of Belan. The military council is forming a column in the eastern part of Welek Township, firing heavy weapons, and a column of around 50 people is still forming from Shrebo Township, west of Welek Township. Along the banks of the Irrawaddy River, between Sakai divisions and Mandalay divisions, the military council often conduct attacks, and thousands of people in the villages that area are fleeing, and there is also a need for food, said those helping to escape the war. It is also said that military hunter troops burned down the huts in Mujib village in Welek Township that had been rebuilt by people who fled the war just a few days ago. They also beat up an 80-year-old man who were to sell peanuts in Nyaseng village in Sankuku Township and robbed him of bags of peanuts. In other news, we have more than 8,000 local residents are fleeing because of the military attacks in King Town. According to those who helped to avoid the war and the local residents, the number of local people fleeing the war has increased to over 8,000 because the military council troops have been patrolling King Township for 2 days. The military council stationed at the Dairing Hospital in Yeu Township and the Pusorti Army started marching onto King Township on April 18. On April 19 at 7 a.m., Myakan village was attacked with heavy and small weapons, and 3 members of the local defense forces were arrested and killed. At present, the military council forces, which have around 90 strong headcount, are in Myakan village, northwest of King Township. It is also reported that more than 8,000 civilians from 12 villages in the northwestern part of King Township are fleeing the war due to the formation of military council troops. The military council was patrolling the village of Basiji, which had been already attacked by airstrike not too long ago. In Gamblu Township, where more than 200 people were killed and affected by airstrikes, residents of Basiji village and the surrounding area had been fleeing since the military council troops entered Basiji village in the early hours of this morning. On April 20 at around 2 p.m., the military council forces stationed in the southward of Basiji village fired 10 60mm guns into the village, and half an hour later, the military council attacked with a jet fighter. According to report on the ground, some houses have been burnt down due to this attack. After the airstrike, the military council troop did not enter the village in formation, but it is said that they are stationed outside the village with a large number of forces. Basiji village has been patrolled by military council troops since yesterday, April 19th, so some local residents who are avoiding the war nearby are fleeing to safety again. 9 days ago, on April 11, the military council did an airstrike attack to Basiji village, bombing from the air with helicopters, where hundreds of people were killed in mass shootings. The National Unity Government (NUG) announced that 168 people were killed in the airstrike, 150 of whom were civilians. General Zaw Min Tun, the head of the coup military council press release team, has said that they will continue to clear Basiji village, as well as continuing the airstrike and patrols. To conclude, this is a recap of the news that we gathered during the week. Every day, Myanmar is still trying to achieve democracy and human rights in many various ways. Therefore, as people all over the world, as well as each country in the world, we would like to urge everyone to help restore democracy and basic human rights in relation to Myanmar issues. This has been the weekly news from MMTV. This is Mei Umang.